Mike Owens and Inside Fighting here, joined today by the victorious Grant Dawson, who's coming off his win last Saturday over Rafa Garcia. Grant, always a pleasure, my man. How things are you today?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on. I love these interviews. I'm super excited about this one.
Oh, that's good to hear. How are your emotions after such a big win?
Yeah, crazy. Usually I was telling you off air. Usually I'm the type of guy that I get the win and I've got that high for a couple of days at
Mm.
max, and then I kind of go into a little depression, and a little post fight, post no schedule depression. But as of right now, I'm still riding pretty high. So must have been a really good one for me.
It certainly looked it in the cage. Did the fight play out as you expected?
No, not at all. I actually was expecting a much tougher fight. I was expecting to lose the first round. I was expecting to, well, I shouldn't say lose the first round. I was expecting not to be able to get him down in the first round. I was expecting him to have a lot more tricks for me than I thought. But I think that I over prepare for everybody. I analyze everybody really well, and I say, okay, I think this is where it's going to be tough, and then I prepare very very well for these guys. I don't care if I'm a big favorite. I don't care if I'm an underdog. I prepare. I'm going to prepare for Islam the exact same way I'm preparing for Rafa Garcia.
What were the strengths that you saw in Rafa's game go into this fight that you felt like you needed to kind of be aware of?
Mainly his takedown defense. I don't think that. Uh, I thought that his takedown defense was going to be really really good, and it was really really good. I'm just really really gooder, and that's a joke. The UFC was pushing, hey, this guy's got great takedown defense. He's going to stuff Grant's shots for the first round. I had people that have trained with him before reaching out to me, friends of mine, like, hey, I've trained with this dude. Insanely hard to take down, insanely hard to keep down, and I believe them, and I think that still rings true. We've seen guys like Jakar Close, who is a very good grappler, very good wrestler. Couldn't really get him down, and when he did get him down, struggled to keep him down. So I was going in with the mindset of, man, this guy is going to be strong. He's got a low center of gravity, which is the nice way of saying that he's short, and so
Mm.
it's hard to get under those guys. So I definitely, I think, if anything, too, I almost over. I don't want to say I over complimented him, but I gave him the respect that he deserves, and I think that it showed.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that because when you said then about you expected to lose the first round, I really appreciate your honesty in that. Is that a mindset thing that you go into with every fight, that almost like the glass half full, so that when you do, win, you can almost exceed your expectations, or was that opponent specific?
That was opponent specific. Let me be clear. I wasn't expecting to lose the first round. I
Of
was
course.
going in the mindset of, look, I could. I think the first round could be very close. I could
Yeah.
see me getting
Yeah.
a lot of my shots stuffed and our striking being very even, and some of the judges being like, yeah, like we're used to seeing Grant so dominant. Let's give Garcia the first round. Like I that's what the mindset was. Also for me, normally, not everybody, but normally I know as the fight goes on, I'm going to get better. I have very good conditioning. I'm very, very strong. And as the fight goes, I wear on people. So going into the fight thinking, look, the hardest round is going to be the first round.
Mm.
And it's always going to be the first round because everybody's the freshest, everybody's the scaredest, everybody's the driest, everybody's the most explosive, the most nervous and ready to
Mm.
react. So the first round's always going to be the toughest round, at least in my opinion. So I go in with the mindset of like, look, that I just have to get through this first round. That's
Yeah.
all I have to do. I have to get halfway through this first round, and he's going to start to slow. And then by the end, I think I can really pick up the
Yeah.
speed. And I think that's a really good mindset to have, especially going into championship level fights where you have 5 rounds. It's like, look, winning the first round is not necessary. You can lose the first round. Piotr Jan built an entire career off of losing the first round, making reads,
Mm.
doing his thing. So I think having that mindset of like, this is going to be difficult. This is not going to be easy. And 2 and 3 are going to be easier than one. And then when one is easy, it just builds your confidence
Mm.
like crazy.
We'll be back to the video in just a second, but first, it's the NFL season. We're right in the thick of things, and you know, Inside Fighting has partnered up with DraftKings, an official partner of the NFL, and we've got an amazing offer for you right now, where if you are a new DraftKings customer, you can go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly just by using our promo code Inside Fighting.
100%. Look, you come off the Bobby Green fight at the back end of last year, and you're now back on this two-fight win streak over Joe Solecki, and then obviously Rafa last Saturday night. How important has 2024 been for you to get back on track after how the Bobby Green fight went?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that it's a year thing. I think that it's an every
Of course.
fight thing.
Mm.
I nobody was talking about me after the Joe Solecki fight, and that was okay. That was a little bit by design. My number one priority was just get back in the green, get back in that win. I don't care if people boo me. I don't care if people are bored or say mean things to me on Instagram. Just get back in the win column. And I think my performance in that fight showed. I think Rafa Garcia is a better fighter than Joe Solecki. I really do believe that. And I looked way better against Garcia than I did against Joe Solecki. So, then my next fight with Garcia was, okay, we got back in the win column. Even if I lose this fight, it wouldn't be two in a row. Let's go in to perform. Let's go in and really show Sean Shelby, show the UFC why they're paying me as much money as they're paying me. Let's do this. And it showed.
100%. I saw somebody online say, because your record in the UFC now is, I believe, 10-1-1 with the Ricky Glenn draw. And after the Bobby Green fight, you were removed from the top 15 rankings, whereas Benoit Saint-Denis, as an example, is on a two-fight losing streak and has still kept his number 12 ranked place. Do you feel like the rankings on the top 15 have been a little bit harsh to you, given what you've done in the UFC?
I think they're harsh to everybody. I think they're bullshit, and I think that everybody kind of agrees with that. I think even the UFC agrees with that. It's a bunch of guys, old dudes that have never fought in their entire life, who are power happy and like to, you know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know how to fix this. But when you have a guy ranked Max Holloway who just beat Justin Gaethje and is now fighting for the featherweight title, ranked behind Justin Gaethje at a weight class that he doesn't even fight at, you can kind of understand that this is kind of ridiculous. This is absolutely insane. And, I don't think I'm ever going to get a title shot if I'm not in those rankings. But if I'm number 15, they could give me a title shot. And that's not like a me thing. That's how pointless the rankings are.
It's almost like with certain divisions, like lightweight, featherweight, bantamweight, they should almost go to 20 or 25, because that kind of 16 to 25 zone in your division are just as good as the top 15 and deserve a ranking. It's almost like certain divisions warrant the top 15 rankings going a little bit further than just 15.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I like that idea. Go to 20, go to 20, and you don't even look, top 15 is what matters, but and then you have just so you know, like these five guys are right outside the top 15 and you can interchange them anywhere. You have me at 16, you have Nasrat at 17, and you're like, look, you could switch those guys, no problem. This is just like opinion based. I do wish there was a little bit more criteria to what it means to be in the top 15 and what it means to actually move up in the top 15. I don't know if the answer is we need less people in those boardrooms talking about that, because maybe there's just too many opinions, too many what's the phrase? Too many cooks in the kitchen. So maybe that's the answer. Maybe there's not enough. Maybe there's just maybe we need to recycle some guys. Maybe we need a board of guys for every weight class. Maybe that's a good idea. Instead of them having to worry about the entire UFC, you got, look, 55 on down is this group of guys, and 70 on up is this group of guys, and they don't have any say in each other's. I don't know what the answer is. And that's the biggest problem. I think it's the same thing with judging. Everybody hates judging, but nobody can give us a solid answer to the problem. And that's where things don't get fixed. There's two things that people hate: the way things are and change. So that's why it makes it so difficult to get things done in this sport.
100%. I think you know where I'm going to bring you to next. Your post-fight interview. First and foremost, what was your wife's reaction to your comments when you got out of the cage?
Oh, she thought it was hilarious. She was a little peeved at me at first. She's a good Christian woman. She's she has built her brand off of not being a whore, to say it lightly, to being a good Christian, respectable woman. You won't find any inappropriate pictures of her. You won't find the OnlyFans. You won't find the weird booty pics on her Instagram. You won't find it. And people have commented that they can't even find it. But I know how hot she is, and I know how attracted I am to her, and I like to poke fun at her. So but she's got a good sense of humor. She thinks I'm absolutely hilarious. So it's all good.
And she's fighting on Invicta in December, I think I heard you say.
Yeah, so she's supposed to be fighting on Invicta in December. We still haven't gotten a name. We still haven't gotten a date. So you know as well as I do that could change at any time.
So you think if she does fight and she gets to win, she's going to try and get you back in her post-fight press conference?
I hope so. I hope so. I'm not a guy that can dish it out and not take it.
But
I want that back and forth.
But where did that come from? Because you've never, we've spoken for so many years and you've never been somebody to kind of hold your tongue. You've always been quite vocal, but it felt like there was a little bit more on Saturday night. Was that just kind of an in the moment thing, or is that maybe part of you building your brand? Because that is part of a fighter's job, is to build the following, build the socials, kind of go viral. And that does help sometimes to get the opportunities that you desire.
Yeah, I think my biggest issue is I haven't really talked to anybody about this. I'm conflicted on what I want, when it comes to my brand. I'm a really funny guy. I mean, that kind of sounds weird. I like to make people laugh outside of MMA. I like to joke around with my friends and my wife. But inside MMA, the guys that I look up to are very scary, very serious. Your Khabibs, your Piotr Jans. They're not funny guys. So I think for the longest time it was just like, which route do I want to go down, and trying to keep one foot in the grave and one foot out of the grave, and find my flow. And I think I just decided, man, if it comes to my head and I mean it, I'm gonna say it, barring anything, inappropriate or slightly racist. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna keep true to myself. As long as I mean it, I will say it. And that's kind of, so if it's funny, great. If I make people laugh, great. If it's serious and I cut a good promo for a fight, then great. I think I can play both sides.
It is part of. I remember speaking to Dan Hardy about this, and he was saying how it is in his day. Social media wasn't a thing. It didn't matter that you have, more more Instagram followers, that you get a bigger fight than the guy who has less Instagram followers, and that is part of your job at times, is to build your own personal brands, and it does feel like at times that is linked to the opportunity that certain people get.
Right, but it's also much more difficult in today's. I'm a heterosexual Christian married white guy with a shaved head. You know what I mean? Like you can't throw a quarter out a window without hitting 15 of me. So it is also, with no accent. It's harder for a guy like me, especially, I'm not going to say anything out of this world. I'm not going to dye my hair. I'm not going to get tattoos on my face. I'm not going to start cheating on my wife just to build my brand, and so I think it is more difficult for guys in the US, especially in the US, man, because what's different about the US, and maybe you don't realize it because I know you're not from the US, but like one of the things that I think is different for fighters in the US is American fans do not get behind American fighters just because they're American.
Yeah.
If you're in London and you have this London fighter that I have no idea who he is, and you have this American fighter, the London fans are going to cheer for the London fighter. That's just how it is. It's not like that in America. In America, if you're the American, we have no idea who either of these guys are, and you're in front of American fans and you're American and you got a London fighter, they don't give a shit. They will cheer for whoever's doing better. They will cheer for whoever they like better. And there's really no rhyme or reason to it. So it is more difficult to promote yourself if you want to stay true to who you are. And that's not to say that you're Sean O'Malley's and you're those guys that are crazy like that. That's not who they are. That probably is who they are. But for me, it's the last thing I want to do is become the next Colby Covington. So I'm just trying to be me, man. And if the fans like it. One of the best things I've ever heard. My dad told me once, if you try to make yourself laugh, everybody else will laugh along with you. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just being myself. I'm trying to make 8-year-old Grant Dawson proud and 50-year-old Grant Dawson proud. And everybody else can jump on the bandwagon or not. I don't really give a shit.
Talking about what's next, I know you called out Drakkar Close for your next fight. I was kind of surprised, if I'm honest. I would have thought you would have been looking for someone in the top 10 to top 15. Why specifically did you choose Close?
Well, I do want somebody in the top 15.
Hmm.
The issue is everybody's booked, retired, or fighting in different weight classes. Like that's how, like, who would you match me up against in the top 15? Go.
I don't believe anyone 11 to 15 is currently ranked other than RDA, who's ranked number 14.
Okay, so give me a name.
No, I'm just thinking at the top. I mean, the Paddy one is certainly interesting. I don't know if he would take that fight. And then you have
Paddy's already in talks for a fight with somebody else. Jalen Turner says he wants to take time off. RDA is fighting in a different weight class, and Moicano is my teammate. You know, like there's literally nobody. You know, everybody's booked, taking time off to find out who they are for some weird goddamn reason. Or so
even though matchups aren't confirmed, it's like there's a exterior reason for each.
Yeah, everybody. Like, I'm pretty sure Paddy has somebody. I don't know this, but I've heard that Paddy has somebody. Jalen Turner says he doesn't want to fight until mid next year. I don't want to wait that long. Moicano's my teammate. BSD, sure. Yeah, sure. BSD would be good, but he's also said he's not fighting anybody outside the top 10. So it's just like, my point of doing that was, look, if you're gonna make me fight somebody outside the top 15, I'll do it, but I would like for it to be Drakkar Close, and I have good reason for it. I have 2 losses in my entire professional career, one in the UFC, one out of the UFC, and Drakkar has beaten both of them. So for me, that's a good way to get over those 2 losses, to show how much better I've gotten, shown that not necessarily they got lucky, because I don't believe in luck, but that if we fight 10 times, I'm going to beat those guys 9 times out of 10.
In terms of teammates, because obviously there seems to be this ATT contingent at the top of the lightweight division with yourself, Dustin, Hanato. You mentioned somebody there, Mateusz Gamrot, and obviously Armin. Are all 4 of those guys off the table for you? Like, are they too close to teammates that you wouldn't fight?
Moicano. I mean, Moicano. Yes. Gamrot, yes. Dustin, yes. It wouldn't even make any sense for me to fight Dustin. He's a superstar. I'm
of
not,
course. Yeah.
You know, Arman, I would fight Arman, but that, you know, there's and listen, if the belt is on the line, forget everything I just said. I love those guys. I've trained with those guys consistently. They are my brothers. But if that belt is on the line, let's do it. But the belt's not on the line. And the problem is that there's so many guys that I could fight. Like, me and Nasrat makes sense. Me and Drakkar makes sense. Me and Paddy makes sense. Me and BSD makes sense. Me and Turner makes sense. There's just so many more guys for me to fight that makes sense, that, you know, I don't want to have to fight a brother unless there is a damn good reason to do it. You know,
talking about Dustin, he keeps threatening Uno Mas. You think he keeps threatening one more dance? Do you think he comes back? And if so, who would you like to see him in there for one last dance?
I think he does have a fight, and
you think?
I know he has a fight. I'm not
okay.
gonna.
Oh, good.
He does have a fight. I'll tell you off air, but he does have a fight. I'm not gonna be the one to spoil it.
I don't blame you. So, last question from me then, Grant. You've come off this fantastic victory in October 2024. Where would you like to be in 12 months' time? What are your goals for the 1st of October 2025?
Yeah, I want to get 2 more in next year. I would love to get more. I would love to get more, but I'm a realist, and it looks like I'm a 2 a year kind of guy. I want that win over Drakkar Close, and then I want somebody top 15. If not, the way I see it, what I would like is for me to get an immediate title shot against my grandmother this year. That would be great. But the realistic side of me says that I'm probably going to fight somebody outside the top 15, get ranked off of beating him, and then fight another person, probably Nasrat, outside the top 15, who is right up in there with us. Right now, there are 3 guys that are just cusp of the top 15, should be ranked, but the rankings are bullshit, so they aren't. And that's me, Nasrat, and Drakkar. So I think those two guys are going to be my next two opponents. I could see a BSD. I'm in for that too, but we'll see.
100%. Well, always good catching up, Grant. Congratulations on the victory on Saturday night. I look forward to seeing you back in action again soon.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on.